When I was a kid, I had a Nintendo 64. Games branded with the 64 label were basically meant to have a kind of seal of quality that met Nintendo's very high standards. Even games that were ported from PC were raised to a level of excellence that you couldn't find elsewhere. Like, games would often be partially, if not totally, rebuilt to give a special Nintendo exclusive flavor, if you will, that you couldn't really get anywhere else. It's like getting Coca-Cola. You can get it at the store, but it'll never quite taste as good as it does when you get it from McDonald's. This thing, when I pulled it out of the box, it kind of gave me this feeling of nostalgia, and I was kind of excited because I hadn't picked this thing up in years. This thing sucks. There's no way to hold this thing comfortably and be able to get your fingers on every button. It has this raggedy analog stick that is as poorly built as it is imprecise. If you had a Nintendo 64, you might remember that there was this dust that would appear around the analog stick area. That was your controller eating itself. The failure rate on these things is actually pretty unreal. I've had more than 20 of these things in my Nintendo 64's lifespan, and maybe 2 of them still work. Garbage. With all that in mind, I wanted to talk about this game right here. This is Duke Nukem 64. Duke Nukem 64, like GoldenEye or Perfect Dark, was a shooter, a game that requires quick reflexes and precision aiming in order to play well. And that's a really hard thing to do with that stupid Tridic controller.
Damn, those alien scum are gonna pay for shooting up my ride.
I walked into this video with my nostalgia glasses on. I hadn't played this in years, and that controller, when it hit my hand, just the sensation of immediate nostalgia just blanketed me in endorphins of this relic of my childhood, and I was ready to kick ass and chew bubblegum. Then I started using the controller, and I realized I was all out of gum. I started fighting, and not fighting aliens, mind you. I started fighting the whole process. I started fighting just to have fun. I realized that the console, to get it to work, was a fight. I had to fight the computer to record this. I had to fight the recording camera. I had to fight the controls in the game. I had to fight monsters, but then get killed by a door randomly because the game's old. I fought my ego and downgraded the difficulty to easy mode, which... Then I had to fight the urge to not play this game anymore. And that's when I started to struggle to not just install Duke 3D. No, not gonna do it. No, I refuse to give up that easy. Duke Nukem 64 is different from Duke Nukem 3D. A lot of the level layouts, they're pretty similar, but it'd be disingenuous to say that they're the same game. The visuals are improved in some aspects. I mean, you lose mirrors, which is weird. There were also changes to weapons. We lost the Devastator, which sucks, but there's submachine guns instead of that stupid chain gun, which I love that. There are ammo variations like explosive shotgun shells or heat-seeking rockets that fundamentally change weapons that Duke 3D on PC doesn't have. Let's be honest, few things feel as good as a fully charged plasma gun to blast enemies into another dimension. You just can't get the same experience from the PC version of the game. It's like ordering pad thai from the restaurant you love instead of the one that's down the block from you. They're both pad thai, but one is just done the way you like it. But that being said, I'll be damned if I have to eat noodles with a spoon. With a series of wires and components and swearing and frustration, I was eventually able to turn this into this. And in the end, I gotta tell you, with all that work, It still plays like crap. It's terrible. Yeah. This game was hard-coded to run like garbage, and I hate it. No amount of adjustments could fix the fundamental problems that come with an aiming system that is always trying to recenter your crosshair back to the center of the screen. Like, this means that it's almost impossible to aim at anything with any real precision because the controls are always pulling away from whatever it is you're aiming at. No amount of control scheme changes could make a controller work without having to recode the game. I was pretty beaten down by just the sheer amount of garbage I had to go through and how bad the controls were working, and I really wanted to quit and just make a different video, I guess. But the thing was I wasn't ready to quit. I was gonna fight. I was gonna fight to make this work. I wanted this experience to work, and so I did an internet deep dive, which introduced me to something called Red Nukem.
Damn, those alien scum are gonna pay for shooting up my ride.
Red Nukem, to me, was like taking off a straitjacket and jumping into a fighter jet. Suddenly I could fly again. I was gunning down alien scum like I was in a Tarantino movie. I had goosebumps. I turned the difficulty back up to come get some and just started dumping. I don't really care. I don't care what people say. Shooters don't belong on old consoles. Awful tank controls are masochism for losers. The game was built to be played with a mouse and keyboard, and hot damn does it run great when you do. It's amazing. Everything I remember this game being, it still was. It was fun, frenetic, it was still worth experiencing decades after its release, as long as you can play with a mouse and keyboard. I'm not the kind of person who hopes that games get re-released just so I can buy them again for a new machine, but this experience deserves a new release with a better control scheme. I'm not going to show you how to download Red Nukem, or how to Google search Nintendo 64 Duke Nukem 64 ROM and put the ROM into the installation folder to play the game illegally, but if you figure out how to do that on your own, you can feel what I felt as a kid and I still feel today. This is one of my favorite games. You can go see for yourself why. I think it's worth your time.